Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my Sister Keeper Candid Conversations. Today we have a phenomenal show of phenomenal ladies who are joining me this evening to talk about giving power to your message and to your voice. I have been fortunate enough to partner and work with these ladies who have decided to go online and bring their messages online. So I want to do an interview with them and talk about their mission and their vision of their show. And we're going to talk about, we're also going to have a panel discussion with the ladies as well. So we're going to do the show just a little bit different today. But as usual, sit back, relax, and enjoy my Sister Keeper Candid Conversations. Again, as you're joining in, let me know where you're joining in from. And of course, leave comments in the comment section to interact with myself and the guests. So our first guest this evening is Miss Cassandra Ferguson. She is the founder of Maintain Mondays. I want to interview with Cassandra to talk about her mission and her vision for Maintain Mondays. So please help me welcome Cassandra Ferguson to the show with me today.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Fine. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you so much for joining me this evening. So I want to jump right into this because, Maintain Mondays, just every Monday starts off my week great, gives me positive messages, positivity in everything. So I want my viewers to understand why I'm so excited about Maintain Mondays. So can you tell me what is the vision of Maintain Mondays and why did you get that started?
Well, as you know, Placid and I have a radio talk show, which we had on Radio 1. And we also were in the process of doing a tour, the Elevate Your Life tour. And what happened was COVID-19 happened. So we were still trying to, because our goal was that we still needed to stay connected to our audience. We could not, after 4 or 5 years, create this major platform, have the energy, have the following that we had built, and then all of a sudden dropped. So we came up with Maintain Monday because we want people to maintain through the pandemic.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. So can you tell me what are some of the ultimate messages you are trying to come from your show?
So we want people to realize that they have a God-given purpose. So what we do is we make sure we bring in guests that have testimonies behind whether they're good family friendship. We've done friendships. We have done just recently we had a venture capitalist on our show who's also a professor, which he had done studies with 9 different companies, even Facebook, telling us successful ways to be a business owner. So our whole goal is to elevate people from where they are to where God has called them to be, and realize that make them realize they have greatness in them.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true. So tell me, who is your targeted audience for your show?
Well, originally a lot of people, we can look at the numbers and we can say women, the majority of our audience is women, but our whole vision is for everyone. A lot of people say, well, I thought your show was just for women. No, it's for everyone. Everybody can listen in, tune in, and get something out of our show. So it's everybody.
Okay, perfect. And I know we talked about how you came up with the name of the show. Maintain Monday was coming out of going on the Elevate Your Life tour. Then the pandemic happened, and then it's like, okay, we still need to get our voices heard, right? Now, I know you have also, other than Maintain Monday, you have started Elevation Global Media. Can you tell me just a little bit about that and how did that come about?
Well, again, being a part of a major radio station for 4 years, you begin to learn things and you begin to see things. Hey, I can step out and I can do this, and I can now provide people a platform like I was trying to get. Now providing people a platform for their voice to be heard. Not only their voice to be heard, but they can also get training. They can get branding. They can get if they want to begin to have a TV show, a talk show. We're going to have a studio which they can actually take their talk show. And again, we're going to have some major training, marketplace training, marketplace ministry, and kingdom training there, that people will have everything they need. And also, we're going to be a major benefactor and philanthropist. We're going to begin to give back to the community and young people as well. So it's a whole lot involved. But during this time, it was a perfect time to sit back and build. But after we come out, we're gonna be strong and we're gonna be ready to go into the next.
Yes, I cannot wait for the studio to be open
Yeah.
and for everyone to be able to come in and join, especially Elevation Global Media Group, and of course, listening out for Maintain Mondays.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. So I am going to thank you so much for talking about Maintain Monday with me. Of course, I'm going to have you in the wedding area because we're going to be with the rest of the ladies in a little while, okay? Thank you.
Welcome.
So we heard from Cassandra Ferguson with Maintain Mondays. You get to start your week off right every Monday at 12 noon. So I want to now introduce you to Felecia Hamilton. And Felecia has her talk show, Let's Talk, Let's Listen. And let's find out why Felecia has started Let's Talk, Let's Listen. So welcome to the show, Felecia.
Hi, thank
How
you for
are
having me.
you? So let's jump right into this. Can you tell me what was your vision and what is the mission for Let's Talk, Let's Listen?
Okay, so I will say that Let's Talk, Let's Listen was birthed about 3 weeks ago, and it was actually birthed out of pain. I had absolutely no intentions of ever doing anything like this. This is just, in my mind, was not my cup of tea. I didn't see
Right.
any reason that I would ever utilize an online platform and be in a position where I'm raising awareness. But here I am. And when I say it was birthed out of pain, it all started with the death of George Floyd.
Mhm.
I found myself in a very dark, burdensome place where, and what was really interesting about that is, just to give you a little background on me, I am, the Christian that prays about issues.
Yeah.
And I just trust that if I pray about it, it's going to be okay. That's just kind of always been my philosophy on when we see these things that arise and have been happening for years now. I just pray about it. I never really had gotten involved, but this was different. This was different, and it it just pushed me to a place where I said, I've got to do something. Faith without works is dead. We can pray and we can trust God, but we also have to be a part of the solution. And so that's how this was birthed.
Right. Well, I am glad that you birthed the show, man, because it's definitely needed at this time. So
Absolutely.
tell me, what are the ultimate messages you are trying to come from your show?
So let's talk, let's listen is what I hope this is an opportunity for individuals that do not look like me to come to the table. And I want to bring guests on that will share their experiences with racism, share their knowledge about the systemic racism that we see in this country that has been alive and well for many years, for centuries. And so my goal, my vision is that we create awareness in the hearts and the minds of my Caucasian friends, my target audience is my Caucasian friends and their friends and their friends and their family and their friends and their family. I think that what has happened in this country in the last few weeks is an opportunity for us to rise up and let our voices be heard, and also allow individuals who are hurting just like we are, because there are people that do not look like me. They are hurting as well, because all of a sudden, I guess the term is they're woke. So I wanted to address their questions. I want to help them to fully understand how we got to where we are today. And then we want to start talking about a resolution. What can you do in order to be a solution to this problem? Because it's going to take all of us. This is not a Black problem. This is a human race problem.
Right.
And so let's talk, let's listen. I didn't come up with it. I said the Lord did, because I'm sitting here and literally I felt like this one particular weekend I was just getting downloads, and instruction. And when I finally said yes to going online and actually hosting what I thought was going to be a show, just one. When I said yes to that, then the name just came. Let's talk, let's listen, because I want people to come and have open hearts and minds to truly hear what we are saying. Exactly. And to walk away with a better understanding. And then, those saying each one teach one.
Yes.
Our goal is that they're going to walk away armed with this knowledge, because knowledge is power. Yes. And that's what changes the world. So they'll share that information with others that look like them.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I love Let's Talk, Let's Listen, because you come up with solutions as you go on and giving us the view of other races.
Yes.
It's not just us that's going through these things. So that's why I really, really love Let's Talk, Let's Listen. So I want to thank you for coming on, of course, to talk about Let's Talk, Let's Listen. And I will bring you back on for our panel discussion in a little while, okay?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we have heard from Felecia Hamilton with Let's Talk, Let's Listen. And she is reaching out, talking about other races that are going through and how they can help us as well. So my next guest is Wilda Black, and she has Difficult Conversations. Wilda really touches on some difficult conversations, and she is doing it through her church. So we want to talk about how come Wilda decided to talk about the church having difficult conversations. So welcome to the show, Wilda Black. Hey, Wilda.
Hello. Hi, Nadia. Thank you for inviting me to this show today.
Of course. So let's jump right into it. Can you tell me what is the mission and the vision of Difficult Conversations? And how did you come up with that show name?
Wow, Difficult Conversations. Yes, to start with, my mission for the show was to bring people around the virtual table to talk and discuss their challenges and approach in difficult situations that they go through in life each and every day. And the vision that I have is to be able to improve the human experience and human relationships by inviting people to talk through and reason together. And by reasoning together through the medium of conversation on and about difficult things that we face each and every day.
Can you tell me some of your ultimate messages that you want to come from your show?
For me, the ultimate message I want to put across is for us to take time to talk to each other, to listen to each other, not only to listen, because that's what we are good at doing, listening, but we need to hear with understanding. So when we are listening, we need to really understand what the other person is talking about.
And really listen. That's the key. Like we all have opinions, but right now we really need to listen to
Yes.
each other. So I love that statement. And what was the meaning behind difficult conversations, and how did you come up with that name?
Oh wow. Difficult conversations. I mean, as a first lady in a church, there's we talk about marriage. We are there talking about marriage. We're talking about other issues that we face in life, but we never talk about racism. And in talking with my friends, we came up with this. We saw these challenges that we were faced with. So I said, you know what? We have these conflicts that we have either at home, or we have some conflicts sometimes at church. Everywhere we have conflicts. And the death of George Floyd, as Felecia also said, I looked at it and said, you know what, this is a time that we need to talk about racism in the church and the role that the church plays in regards to social justice. So that's how I came up with the name Difficult Conversations.
Right, because I know everyone wants to talk individually, but and what intrigues me about the show is we get to know what the church is saying about racism and social.
Yes.
So this is why I really love difficult conversations coming from the church view. I really enjoy that. So I want to thank you for talking about what difficult conversations is about. I'm going to bring you back when we start our panel discussion. Okay.
All right.
So last and certainly not least, we are going to talk to Norma. And Norma has You Can't Stop, Step Up. And she is giving us information about how we can continue to pursue our goals and our dreams. So I want her to talk about how did she come up with You Can't Stop, Step Up to give us motivation. So welcome to the show, Norma.
Hi, Nadia. Thank you so much for
Thank
inviting me. I really
Of
appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Now I'm going to jump right into it. Can you tell me what is the mission and vision for You Can't Stop, Step Up?
So, really, like you just said, the show is to pretty much provide everyone with that encouragement that they need to be able to step up their game, to be able to level up, right? Because there's some people that think that, they're stepping up and they just want to stay where they are when they can do more. And then there's some people that haven't even scratched the surface. You know what I'm saying? And there's some that are like, well, COVID-19 is here and I can't really achieve my mission or achieve my goal. But the truth is that's not really true. Um, Whatever you put your mind to and whatever you set your mind to, you can achieve it. It might change a little bit, and I mean things might change, but the goal just never shouldn't change. So really, this pretty much came from a place of this is actually it's revamped because the first show that I had was just pretty much focused on women, but this time around I wanted to make it focused on women and men because men and women have to step up their game,
Mhm.
in everything. Um, no better time to launch it I mean, no better time to launch it except not like now with everything
Mhm.
going on. Um, Everybody, you know, people are being silent about what is going on, and I just disagree with being silent. I mean, whatever it is that you can do, can you petition? Can you write? Can you donate? What can you do? Can you start a movement? So for me, it's not only I'm not going to be talking about just racism. I'm going to be talking about everything because I believe that there is racism everywhere, right? So not just regarding police brutality, there's racism every single place. So for me, it's pretty much delving into the different areas and different themes um, that people find very uncomfortable to talk about. So whether that be racism or whether that be business or whether that be just being employed, your 9 to 5. that racism exists in that as well. So that's really what the show is about. And pretty much it was better, better. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it came about because when I noticed that whenever I put my mind to something, I can achieve what I wanted to do or what I want to do. So this platform is going to provide people with it's going to be like an awareness platform, but also I want to be able to provide people with the resources that they need to be able to step up their game. And I want to also be able to do in the future some form of mentorship program, because everybody wants to step up. I'm sure nobody is like, oh, I don't want to step up my game. But sometimes it's just very difficult to be able to find somebody that can like take you under the wings and help you step up. um and coming belonging I belong to an organization called National Association of Black Accountants because I'm a tax professional, and our the slogan right there is lifting as you climb. So are you the kind that just elevates and leave other people behind, or are you the kind that elevates and grabs people and grab people with you so that they can equally step up the way you have stepped up as well? So for me, that's pretty much, what struck me to start this platform, well, to revamp this platform and include men as well. So my hope is that the people that I bring on my show to talk about the different things will be female and male, because they would give different perspective to different things. And that creates a very interesting conversation for our listeners.
Right, and that's what I love about Stella. Your targeted audience is really male and female, and getting the perspective of a man and the perspective of a woman on certain topics. So I definitely get that. So I love, and I thank you for talking about You Can't Stop, Step Up. So I want to jump into the next half of our show, which is our panel discussion. So I'm going to bring back all the ladies on with me, and we're going to have again a candid conversation as a panel, as I bring all the ladies back on with me. And we make a beautiful group, ladies.
Of course.
That's right.
Right. So I want to jump into the first question I want to ask is there a certain topic that when the topic came to mind scared you to start talking about it in public because you didn't know what your viewers were going to think when you started this particular topic? Felecia, I want to go to you because I know your face is like, yes, the first topic that I talked about. So, Felecia.
Interesting is that show hasn't happened. However, the very thought of it it gripped my heart, and there was fear, because I know that it is a very difficult conversation to have, and it's a very real thing.
Right.
However, there will be some who will absolutely deny that it exists. And so what I actually did a couple of weeks ago, I am a Toastmaster. And I'm not sure if everyone is familiar, but Toastmasters is it's an organization that helps individuals who are wanting to perfect their presentation skills or public speaking skills, because it's been said that public speaking is the number one fear in the world.
Right.
This organization helps with that. And so what we do is we practice speeches. We write speeches and we practice them in a safe space with our other members, and they provide feedback. So I decided I would do a speech on white privilege. And I am the only one in the Toastmasters Club that looks like me.
Wow.
And I was afraid.
Yes.
At the same time, I was bold, because it needed to be said. And it went over quite well. And so I was so grateful to God, because I truly did pray. I'm like, Lord, these are my coworkers and I got to work with these people. But this is real, and it's time to start talking about it. And so I did just that. So now This Saturday, we'll be having Let's Talk, Let's Listen, and we will be talking about white privilege.
White privilege.
A trial run. So now
Yes.
I'll be
I
able to.
can't wait for that one. I definitely can't. Wilda, is there a topic that's coming up or that we've talked about before that really scared you to talk about?
Not yet. No, no topic has been intimidating to me. Being a first lady, you hear everything, you talk about everything. Trust me. But I'm sure there's one around the corner that is going to intimidate me for sure. But talking about racism and the role of the church was one big thing that I actually was like, will I get people to talk about it? Will I get pastors from different churches to talk about this? Because it's difficult for a pastor to come up and say, hey, I mean, this is true. It happens. It happens in the church. Because we tend to say that we tend to think that the church is a safe place to be. There's no racism, but no, there is racism in the church. So, and when you talk about racism, it comes out as you're being political about it. So it was very interesting when I had that conversation, and yeah.
About racism in the church, yes, absolutely.
In the church, yes.
Right. Cassandra, you are the professional of the entire group because you have been on air for a number of years. But my question for you would be, is there a topic that you've had, even if it's recently, that really touched you and was like, oh my goodness, I didn't expect the road for the conversation to go down this particular road, but it was like so powerful. And what topic was that?
Well, you know what? The one topic that always, and it still is when you have to bring in, because people see your glory, but they don't know your story. And a lot of my push and drive and my determination actually did not come from me being an adult, but it came from me being a child. And my father actually, this part is out, but there's still some pieces to my story that I can't share yet because of family members.
Mm,
Some family members, you may be ready, but the family members are not ready. If you understand what I mean, so you have to walk very carefully, and you have to stay in order. So you just can't tell a story just to get likes, and none of that, because you have to make sure. So the one piece of my story that a lot of people did not know, it came out on the air, was my father was a bank robber. And now that I'm sharing that story, I'm telling people why, I'm so determined, because he got in a car when he robbed the bank, or a couple of days after, or a day after he robbed the bank, and I was about 12 years old. But he got in a car from Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, and tried to get away and stayed in the back of a car, the trunk of a car, from Richmond, Virginia to Newark, New Jersey. And I used to say, God, when I found out that story, I said, God, if he has that much faith to stay in the back of the trunk of a car, and he's that confident in that, give me more faith and more boldness than what he had. So that the hardest part still is because there's so many pieces to that story. There's a whole lot, but I have to be very careful, because some family members and other people are not ready to reveal all the story. So I think that's, when you've been on radio and you're in a conversation and it's getting good, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. The Holy Spirit be like, don't share that yet.
right. Right.
We have to listen, because even though you may be ready, there's family members, there's people that are connected to you that are not ready. So I made a mistake, and I did it actually on one of the shows that we had on May 10th Monday. I brought in, said something about a family member, and they text me, it's like, I'm not feeling like that. Where do you get that from?
Okay. So you have, so I guess your words of wisdom for us really would be careful of topics
Yep.
We are getting ready to discuss making sure that we have all the facts.
Yep.
And especially if it has to do with family, we're making sure we're at least letting them know, hey, this is what I'm getting ready to talk about.
They're okay with it.
Great advice. Great advice. Because all of us are very new to this. So you are really of giving us these advice for sure. For sure. I appreciate that. Norma, can you tell me why was it so important for you right now to start You Can't Stop, Step Up? Why right now?
Well, COVID-19 and racism 20, I guess. That's why. There are
Right.
certain times during, ever since, I was home that I just thought about like, starting my platform. But I'm always so much in a hurry to just start immediately. Like, let's just get it rolling, right? But I was this time around, I was like, there's no need to rush it. Take your time, figure out a structure. What is it? How do you want to pass across your message, and what do you want your audience to live with? So, uh, I think those were the two things pretty much that really pushed me to start. I mean, COVID-19 was the first one, but then with the whole situation, it's almost like you want to avoid social media, but it's not really possible to avoid because it's everywhere. And the news just keeps coming. You think, okay, we're done with this situation, let's move on. And then something else happens. And you're like, oh my God, like, is it ever going to stop? And that's why I really like Felicia's platform. Let's talk, let's listen, because I think all the topics that she's going to be addressing there needs to be addressed. And like I said, racism is not only it doesn't only um, it's not only focused on police brutality. There's racism in institutions. There's racism in the churches. Wilda, I'm sure you're very aware of that. There's racism in
Yes.
schools.
Right.
There's racism in offices. There might be internal racism versus external racism, but it exists because I mean, people have stereotypes. Even black people have stereotypes. White people have stereotypes. Everybody has stereotypes. It's not just for a particular race.
Right.
Um, and so, what is very important is that the more we keep having this uncomfortable conversation in our comfortable spaces, the more we begin to figure out what everybody brings to the table,
Mhm.
and the more we can respect people, in their own accord.
Makes sense.
So I mean, yeah,
I
racism
love
and
what
COVID-19.
Yeah, COVID-19, right? COVID-19 has started a lot of things. But I
Right.
love what you said in having the difficult conversations in uncomfortable spaces. That is so true. So I want to know from Felecia, what challenge can you say you're facing or have faced in starting Let's Talk, Let's Listen? What was the challenge?
My major challenge was technology because I work in tech. I
Yeah.
work at a software company, $2 billion software company. But when I tell you I am the least technical person that works there, it is, I'm not interested in technology. I've just been one of those, I'm almost 50, okay? And so I dibble and dabble. I know how to get times. So that was my biggest challenge, was how to bring it all together. Nadia laughed at me when I said that initially when I wanted to do the very first show and I was trying to create a flyer and I'm on PowerPoint trying to create a flyer. And I was so frustrated. And I had a thought. I remember seeing her shows pop up and I had occasionally stopped by and listened for a few seconds. And I thought, let me reach out to her. How's she doing that? And so I say that was definitely God, because as soon as I reached out, she's like, well, that's what I do. And I'm like, well, look at this. Okay, Lord, thank you. So I just told her, hey, you do whatever, send me a bill.
Right. Sounds about right.
That
Sounds
was my
about
biggest
right.
challenge, was really trying to put it all together and trying to make sure that I wanted to make sure what I was doing was quality,
Right.
Right.
because that is very, very important. If you want people to hear you and respect what you have to say, you have to bring something that's of quality.
Right.
I'm very grateful, Nadia. You saved the day.
I appreciate that. I thank you so much for that. Cassandra, I know you've been, again, doing this for a while, but when you first started, what was some of the challenges that you had to overcome and how did you overcome them?
Well, the number one challenge was inferiority, not thinking I was qualified or knew enough to start it. I don't know if you know the whole story, but I was approached about 10 years before I started on the radio. I was actually asked by a radio host, "Did you ever think about doing radio?" And I said no, because I thought I had this Southern accent. I thought I couldn't pronounce my words correctly. But then I started watching some of the major radio hosts like Steve Harvey and other people. I said they don't pronounce their right. And I said I couldn't believe it. And I told God, I said, God, if you ever allow that opportunity again, I will not say no.
Mm,
So he allowed the opportunity to come again. So I had to get over me. That was the major challenge. Me getting over me
Right.
and thinking that I had to be so perfect and say things correctly, because I still got my little Southern, twang, and I still say words a little different, even after I've been in Maryland for a number of years. But I had to get over me. I had to
mm,
bring me back and let God do what He was going to do through me, regardless of how I felt about the way I did things.
Right.
right, right. I know sometimes we want to be so perfect that we put our own self in the way
Yep.
Hmm.
starting
Yeah.
Yep.
something, and not, well, let me get started, let me learn from this mistake, and at least I can move forward. But we always want to be so perfect
Right.
when we get started. So I love that advice that you're giving to us. So, Wilda, can you tell me if there was any challenge that you faced when getting ready to start difficult conversations?
Yes, as Cassandra said, the fear of overcoming yourself. That was me, overcoming myself and saying, hey, not everyone is perfect. You can say I have an accent and how am I going to put the fear of failure? How am I going to address people? How am I going to get the guests on the show? Like the difficult conversations, it's hard for somebody to say, okay, fine, I'm doing it. So I just had to get in terms in myself and say, you know what, it is what it is. I'm going to start. People told me, hey, you didn't promote it on time. Um, you don't have you. How are you going to start it? I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it. Whoever listens will listen. Well, I'll be there. We'll be there. And then I talked to my friend. I was invited to one of the shows, Duchess and Duchess.
Mhm.
So I asked her, "How did you? Who did your show?"
Right.
So she introduced me to Nadia. I'm like, "Okay, perfect. She's going to do everything. I'm not going to worry about the other stuff. I'll just worry about me getting guests and getting the topics, and life goes on. And let God do the rest."
And let God do the rest. I
Yeah.
love it. Yes, yes, let Him do the rest. Norma, any challenges that you can think of that you're facing that you had to get over?
Myself.
Everybody is like myself.
Like like Nadia, you know my
Yes.
story. Like I called Nadia and I was like, I just have so many things in my mind. I just don't know where to even start from. And she's like, well, let's start from maybe you figuring out what you want to call your show. Maybe we should start from that and trickle down and see, how it is that you want to organize it. Um, so yes, myself for sure, but like Cassandra and Wilda have said, um, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? We all think as human beings that, everything has to be perfect, everything has to be, all good and dandy. I mean, as far as its quality, And of course, everyone is home now. So I think people understand that, if you have a little bit of technical difficulty here or a little bit of flaw here, it's not going to matter. At the end of the day, what is the message that you're trying to pass across? If you're passing across your message just fine, then it doesn't really matter if the lighting, goes off or, I mean, that might be a little extreme, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. And so, like, I had to get out of that fear of, wanting my show to be perfect and just pretty much staying again, having, pretty much trying to execute my purpose one day at a time and one step at a time. This show has been on my mind for the longest time. It didn't just come. Like I said, this is a revamped platform. It has always been there, but every time I get scared, I get nervous, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I can do this. But I just have to tell myself that you got this. So yeah, myself for the most part, but I'm getting through it one step at a time.
One step at a time.
Yes,
Exactly.
ma'am.
So it sounds like, each one, and even when I had to start candid conversations with my sister, like my first show, you heard the tremor in my voice. Because I'm like, oh my goodness, there are people really watching me right now. And there's
Right.
people to watch me. And you question yourself, but after a while, you like I tell you guys, you get comfortable and to get over your own fears. So I want to thank you guys for sharing the challenges. So I want each one of you all to talk about what words of encouragement, and I'll give you guys, the full view screen because I want you to talk to my viewers. And I will start with Norma and go around. Can you give my viewers words of encouragement? And if they're thinking about, starting, even if it's not even coming online to start a show, but they want to make a difference in any which way they want to make a difference, what word of encouragement can you give to them just to get started?
Okay. I would say just start small, like one step at a time, take your time and just learn as you go. Like I said, my platform started before, so this is a revamped platform. And I did make a couple of mistakes, and I was able to learn from those mistakes. So just start small and just follow your heart, speak your truth, follow your heart, be very authentic, because I tell you, a lot of people would sense if you're not authentic and if you're just trying to just put things out there for the sake of it. You have to be very authentic. You have to speak your mind. Be bold, pretty much. Don't try to say things that people, sometimes saying things that people want to hear is not necessary. Just speak your own truth, and you'll be surprised that people that you never even expected to listen to you are actually listening to you. So that's it.
I love it. I love it. People who you're not even expecting listen to you are.
Yes.
That is so true. So Felicia, I'm going to come to you next, and can you give the viewers a word of encouragement if they want to get started?
Absolutely. I am a firm believer that everybody has a purpose. No one is on this earth without a specific purpose. And so I believe that we all have to search and seek out what that purpose is, because in doing that, that is, in my opinion, the only way that you'll truly be fulfilled in life and truly be happy. And so I just encourage anyone who is in that place where you're not quite sure if you should be doing something and you're kind of like on the edge, but there's something pushing you, give into that push, because into purpose, you will find yourself in an amazing place. And fear, perfect love casts out all fear. And I'll take it from a Christian perspective. One thing that I know is that the Father loves me. And if he gives me an assignment to do something, then I can walk with him And I know that because of the love that he has, the fear cannot remain. And fear is such a lie. It is. I heard it one time, an acronym. It's false evidence appearing real. And so I would just encourage anyone who, you're considering, you've got something down there that's burning in you, and you want to do it, and you want your voice to be heard. Just do it. Stop thinking about it and act, because we stay in our heads too much sometimes. We get here in our heads and we can't get out. We have to learn to just start the walk. And once you start walking, you'll be amazed at how things will just fall into place. You had told me a few weeks ago I would be doing this, like I said earlier, absolutely not. But I tell you that once I said yes to what I was hearing, everything started falling into place. So that would be my advice.
I appreciate that. I really do. Wilda, I'm going to come to you next. Leave our viewers a word of encouragement as well.
Yes, what I'll say is focus on the outcome, not the obstacle. If we are to focus on the obstacle, we will not know what the outcome will be, and we will end up not doing whatever is in your mind that you need to do. And maybe whatever we want to do will help one or two people out there. So just get hold of yourself, focus on the outcome, not the obstacle. And also, once that is done, God definitely will help you do the rest.
Thank you. God will help us do the rest. Yes. And Miss Cassandra, can you leave us with some words of encouragement?
Of course, all that these beautiful talk show hosts have said. But what I would tell everyone is to allow God to pull out of you what He has put in you. Die empty. So just do it afraid. And in Philippians 4:13, it says, "I can do all things through." And it says it in the Amplified version. He has given me the enabling power to do so. So know that if God called you to it, He's gonna bring you through it. So just do it.
I like it. Short and sweet, just do it. I love that part. Just do it. So my final question is, why was it again so important now? Because I know you guys, and of course I've worked with most of you all, and it was, I thought about it, and yeah, I don't know right now, but what gave you that aha moment, that push, like, okay, this is it, I'm gonna do it, no matter, I'm just gonna figure out how to do it, and I'm gonna do it. What gave you that push? So Nneoma, I'm gonna start with you.
Okay, so my medium of getting through things in my life is when I talk about it. I have to talk. I just have to. I can't keep it in. I don't know how to keep it in. I just don't. And so the push is, for me, like, going through my own, experience of when I had to step up, whether it be being a mom or trying to be a professional and breaking out to the companies that I really wanted to work for, even if it seemed impossible. I did get into those companies. Um, I I I'm able to, I guess, I want my listeners to also feel that sense of encouragement, and I want them to feel it by me passing across a message, not just me talking about it, but other people sharing their experience about it, whether white, whether black, because different people step up in different ways, right? The way I stepped up may not be the way somebody else stepped up, but the way somebody else stepped up and the way I stepped up may help somebody else out there that is looking to step up. Okay, step up is a very general term, and that's why I really love it, because it's a very safe word to say, because it's like you just got to step up. I mean, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And so for me, that's pretty much why. That's pretty much my why.
Okay. And that's your why. Of course. Thank you so much for sharing that. Felecia, what gave you that push to get started?
I would say for me, as I mentioned earlier, this really was all birthed out of pain. And how it all really came about was, I guess, to be really honest, I had a breakdown on Facebook. I got up one morning. I had been crying the entire night. And I was a little angry, to be honest, because I have a very, very diverse group of friends. And I love that. I love that God has done that for me, that I just don't have Black friends or white friends. I mean, I have every color in the rainbow. What I was a little upset about was everything that was going on that week. This was the week that George Floyd was killed. And I noticed that my white friends were not saying anything.
Mm.
And I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, okay, I know they're not racist. This I know. What's up? And so I got up this one Saturday morning. It was probably like 6 a.m. And I'm sitting on the couch and I'm crying and I can't stop crying. And then I'm mad and I'm like, this is crazy, you know? And so I actually did a video. I wasn't sure if I was going to post it, but I did it all in one take and it was perfect. Like I absolutely knew I had to, because I had told myself that when I was finished and I looked at it, I would pray about it, whether or not I should post it. But when I looked at it and realized that it didn't require any redo, and to me, that was God giving me his seal of approval. Like, I'm in this with you. This is not just you and your flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot explain how that felt, but it was pretty amazing. And so I posted it. That video today has gotten over 2,500 views.
Wow.
Which blew my mind.
Right.
I only was talking to my friends, but everybody started sharing it. Which now I look back on it, that's what God meant to happen. He meant for it to get out there to the masses. And so after that happened, then the idea just dropped down in my spirit. You should follow this up with a panel discussion. Let's invite some people and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it happened.
Right. Yes, because I remember seeing the video that you posted, and it was, I mean, you felt it. I mean, you cried and everything, but the message from it was so powerful. So, you know, it's no surprise that it was shared, because it had to be shared and it had to be across the masses. So I'm glad that you at least expressed yourself and not sat at home and cry on the couch.
Right.
Literally let it out. And your forum was to let it out on, you know, on social media, and that's perfectly fine, but it had to come out at some point instead of sitting at home and crying. So I appreciate you for sharing that video, and I know I'm glad that's what you said your push was, because I'm like, that had to be the push. Like, literally was in tears that day.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it. Like, I had to call you back. You okay? Do I need to drive to Virginia? Do we need to sit and cry together? Like, what do we need to do? So I felt that, and I'm glad that you were able to get that out. And then I'm glad that you're able to now start this platform to get that message out that you want to get out to everyone. So I'm glad that was the push. For real. What was your push, that aha moment that said, I need to start talking about difficult conversations?
For me, in the wake of George Floyd's murder, we had churches meet to pray together and talk about racism. And when I went to the rally or to the prayer meeting, there were a lot of people of different colors. And what I thought about was, like, we are here talking about race. I originally come from Africa, and Rwanda had a genocide. It was not for black and white. It was all black people. So I said, okay, I need to talk about this, and we need to get the church involved, because most people that got killed or were murdered in Rwanda were not just people that you met on the street. There were people that were in church that said, hey, this is from this tribe, so we need to kill you. So this is from this tribe, so you need to go there. So when this happened, when I saw the murder of George Floyd, I said, you know what, we need to start these difficult conversations, and to roll us out will be the role of the church. What does the church have to do? What do they have to say about racism in the church and social justice in
In the church. Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect. Cassandra, again, I always say you are the matriarch of this group, ma'am. And we want to just pull from you to understand
Yes.
um, how do we again continue to share our messages and things of that nature. So I, really want you to talk about, yes, the push that made you get started, but then advice for us ladies on here on how do we maintain. So
Okay. Okay, so the push, and unfortunately, I heard a lot of you ladies mention that your pain fueled your purpose. And actually, a lot of things are birthed from pain. And unfortunately, history repeated itself because I originally started my radio show due to Freddie Gray.
Mm.
Yeah, and unfortunately, history has repeated itself 5 years later.
Yeah.
So it was also from the pain and seeing people in pain and seeing people, the young people not realizing they may have a purpose and wanting to call on leadership from all over the world, and also to speak to the issues, but also to show young people that, hey, we're strong leaders. We're out here. We're here with you. We want to support you.
Yes.
We want to guide you. So that also birthed out of our show. We have something called Millennial Takeover. Originally, when I started, it was called the Young and the Bold segment, but now it's called Millennial Takeover, which we allow millennials to come in once a month to take over, to have their conversations, to talk about what they want to talk about. So, what I would just advise you, ladies, is just to continue to do it. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Amen.
You will be rewarded greatly for
Amen.
your obedience. You
Amen.
may have the naysayers, the nay knowers, but I always say this: what are they doing? All you gotta say, what you doing? Really,
Yeah.
what are you doing about it? But I would say continue to be obedient, continue to get those downloads, continue to keep fresh topics, be different, be unique. You don't have to do it like anyone else. Do it the way that is given to you because it was given to you, and just stay the course. Stay the course. That's what I would advise you to do.
mm, thank you.
Thank you.
Powerful message. We really, really
Very powerful.
appreciate that.
That was good.
That
Yeah.
was good. I told you we can learn so much from her. I can learn so much from her. I thank
Yes.
God every single day in my prayer. Thank you, Lord, for bringing Cassandra into my life to get me focused.
Can I do the same for you, Nadia? Now I'm
You give me strength.
praying for all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Cassandra.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. I really, really appreciate you. And I appreciate each one of you ladies. And I can't wait to hear all the other topics that you guys are going to talk about and, bring forth all these messages that have to be heard. And each one of you all have a powerful message, a powerful platform. And I can't wait for each one of you all to, again, network with each other. Cassandra has Elevation Global Media Group, and she's in radio. So hint, hint, I'm sending you over to her to be on there. That's on the side hint. But this message needs to be heard not even just online, but on radio. So we are going to partner up and go over to Elevation Global Media Group and get our shows on the radio and get it online and share our voices to the masses and get our point across. So I mean, time flies when you're having fun. So we're almost at that hour mark, and I want to personally thank each one of you for joining me this evening to talk about your shows, your vision, your mission. I will make sure to share all of your information to my viewers so that each day they can get a message from each one of you all. In closing, I just want to again, I'll give you guys a frame just to talk about days and times of your show and how my viewers can get in contact with you. Again, how we can get in contact with you and days and times of your show. So Nneoma, I will start with you.
Okay, so for the days and time, my show would air Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so wait, days and time, right? And then how they can get in contact with me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and my show will be airing on Facebook and YouTube. And on Instagram, my name, or you can find me at YCS, you can't stop. So YCS underscore step up. And on Instagram, you can find me at step up.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Felecia, I'm going to go to you next.
Okay.
Days, times, and how we can view your show.
So the next show is this Saturday, and it is going to be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's going to be, I'm still working through some logistics, and I'm looking at changing the date. The first one that we did was on a Saturday, and this one's going to be on a Saturday. I think we're going to move that, but in order to keep up to date on what's going on with Let's Talk, Let's Listen, you can find us. We have a Facebook page titled Let's Talk, Let's Listen, and you'll be able to get all of the information there and the updates. We are currently streaming Facebook Live, and we'll be streaming on YouTube as well.
Okay, perfect. And Wilda.
All right, Difficult Conversations, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time every Sunday. And on Facebook, you can get me on Wilda Black. And on Instagram is KERUBO.BLACK. And if you have any questions, you need to contact me through email, blackwildak@gmail.com. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And Cassandra.
You can catch me with my beautiful co-host Placida Braswell every Monday at noon on Facebook Live at Elevation Global Media Facebook page. You can follow us, Elevation Global Media, on Instagram. You can follow us on LinkedIn, Elevation Global Media Group. We're still Elevation Talk Show on Twitter, but we're on Instagram, like I said, but you can catch us every Monday at 12 noon. And you can also send an email to info@elevationglobalmedia.com, and we will respond to your email.
Perfect. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me this evening. I appreciate you all so much. And I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. We learned so much from each other.
Love you, Nadia.
Love you guys. Love you guys.
Bye. God bless you, ladies.
Thank you. Bye.
So we have heard from all of the ladies of starting your own show and making sure that you are, again, stepping up, having difficult conversations. Let's talk, let's listen, and maintain Mondays. And you all know exactly where to find each and every person. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me today for my Sister Keeper Candid Conversation. And remember, if you're thinking about getting something started, whether it's a business or going online or getting your own radio show, just do it, as Miss Cassandra Ferguson has told us. You guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I'll see you all next week, same time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, For my Sister Keeper, Candid Conversations. Have a good night.